Adda 247 class. So hearty welcome to all the bankers in this early morning session. So I hope you all have a great day ahead. And before to start this session, I just want to tell you here that we are here for discussing the important MCQs of your module C, and based on that, you are going to learn a important concept of your module C, like the different concept you are going to learn. So let's start. And the very important thing, that just use a pen and paper, because if you're finding anything is important, just note down that. Okay, so if you're new on the Officers Adda 247, just hit the subscribe button and just download the Adda 247 application so that you can get everything at a one place. So let's start today's session. And before to start, there is a one update from our side, that our target batch is started. Okay, so that means our target batch, like the classes that actually they're running, and that batch you are going to get at a very minimal price. Okay, you only have to use the code, that is Y422, and with this code you are going to get the big discount. The features of this batch, you're going to get the quality content, whatever the class that is delivered by us, that all will be the fully exam oriented classes. That means that we are not preparing you only for the 50 marks, we actually prepare you for the 70 plus 80 plus marks in the examination. And based, like, with this batch, you are also just going to get the ebooks, mock tests, recorded classes, live classes, all things. Just enroll in the batch fast, because your examination is now very very nearby, so just enroll fast. Okay, so let's start today's session with this first question. Just solve by your side. Okay, just pause this video and just solve by your side, and share this video to your friends also, so that they can also just join with us in this session. Okay, so how to solve this kind of the questions? When we talk about like the quick ratio, we have to find out. Okay, and the very important thing, we know the formula of the quick ratio, that is the quick asset, and it is divided by the current liabilities, right? Now now the thing, that what we understand by the quick asset, the only we know the current asset, but what we understand by the quick asset, you can understand the current asset, those assets you can convert into cash within a 1 year. Okay, that asset known as a current asset. And quick asset, those assets you can convert into cash as soon as you can. Okay, so that you can understand as a quick asset. When you want to convert into cash, you can just convert into cash. That asset is known as a quick asset. Example: cash, account receivables, like your debtors have to just make payment to you. Okay, yeah, account receivables. Okay, so that kind of the things, that is known as a quick asset. So when we talk about the current asset, you can understand our cash is a current asset, our account receivables are current asset, our prepaid expenses are the current asset, inventory are the current asset, advanced tax are the current asset. But when we talk about the quick asset, you can understand the cash and account receivables are your quick asset, right? So now if I talk about that, we have to just find out the quick asset here. So you can understand the fixed asset is just a non-current asset. Okay, whenever you just purchase any kind of the machine, just never think that you have to just sold that machine in within a 1 year. Okay, so that asset is known as a non-current asset. Okay, so now if I have to just find out the quick asset, so what I have to do, I have a cash, I have an account receivables, and I know that is our quick asset. Okay, so we can just write here, that is quick asset would be equal to the 50,000 plus 10,000, that would be equal to the 60,000, right? So that would be our quick asset. Now if I say, the fixed asset value of the fixed asset is given, prepaid expenses are given, you can understand prepaid expenses, those expenses you can just already paid. Okay, that means that those expenses that made you in the next fiscal year, so that expenses you already paid, so that you can understand as a prepaid expenses. That's why it is current asset, but not the quick asset. Okay, so that means I have a quick asset value, that is 60,000, right? Now if I have to just find out the current liability, because quick ratio formula, that is quick asset divided by the current liability, because in accounting we actually assume our quick liabilities, that is equal to the current liability, because in the liability case we actually assume that we just have to pay all the liabilities. Okay, so that means the very important thing here, you have to understand how to just find out when the total liabilities are given and the non-current liabilities are given, and we have to just find out the current liabilities. So now you can understand the very important thing here, that total liabilities actually given here, that is 40,000. Okay, and the non-current liabilities, that is given what, 20,000. So if I ask you what would be the value of the current liabilities, so what you will take, what you will tell, like what would be the value of the current liability? That would be the, definitely that would be the 20,000 rupees value of the current liabilities. Okay, so now tell me what would be the answer of this question? Definitely that would be the 3 times. So you can just find out like this way, that is a quick asset, that would be the 60,000, and it would be divided by the current liability, that would be the 20,000, and your answer, either you can say the 3 is to 1, or you can also say the 3 times. Okay, in both terms you can just understand, you just never have to be confused in this kind of the questions. And these kind of the information that currently useless. Okay, so these useless type of the information will all just may just you can also get in the examination, so you just know about the concept, so that we are just talking about that the very important thing, you should have a very strong with your basic concepts. Okay, so that you can just solve every question in a accuracy, in accurate manner. Okay, so that is a very important thing. I think you learned the different things from here, this question. All right, next question. Opening balance of the profit and loss account was given the 7,500, dividend paid 1,500, ending balance of the profit and loss account was 5,000. So net income or net loss was, how to calculate this? I just explained you all things. Okay, the look, the only concept would be the same, only the questions would different, and that thing follow in your examination. Okay, the concept would be same, like you just, I think you just memorize when I just explained you the formula, or like the questions about your balance sheet equation, where you have to just find out the opening capital or the closing capital. Okay, I think you all have memorized that. So how to just solve this kind of the question in the examination? Look, your opening balance is just given the 7,500, right? You paid the dividend, you paid the dividend. Okay, so if you paid the dividend, that means that would be the minus 1,500. Okay, what would be the value of this? That is 6,000. But your ending balance of the profit and loss was of 5,000 rupees. That means if I say this is the 5,000 and this would be your minus 6,000, that means it will be considered as a loss of the 1,000 rupees. That would be your answer. The correct answer, that would be the loss of the 1,000 rupees here. Okay, because your closing balance of the profit and loss account was a 5,000, but because your opening balance this and dividend you paid this, that means this is 6,000, and the closing balance is a 5,000. That means 5,000 minus 6,000, that means you can understand here it is a loss of the 1,000 rupees. Okay, so that's how we have to solve the questions in the examination too, right? Next question. Determine working capital of the firm if these all the informations are given. Okay, how to calculate and what is the working capital? Okay, whenever we are talking about in the formula, you can understand the working capital is all about current asset minus current liability. Okay, excess of the current asset over the current liabilities, you can also understand as a working capital. Okay, so how to just calculate this, the working capital? When we talk about, we have to just find out the working capital. Okay, so current asset, now again the current asset, how to solve this kind of the question? Look, cash is our current asset, right? Bills receivables are the current asset, right? Inventory, current asset, obviously current asset. Okay, inventory is, you can understand as a stock which is just in your like the in your factory. Okay, short term liabilities, long term liabilities are given, and we have to find out the working capital. You can understand this short term liabilities is nothing but your current liabilities given. All right, now working capital, we have to find out current asset, the value of the current asset, that would be 1 lakh plus 50,000 plus 50,000, that would be 2 lakh. That would be the 2 lakh. Okay, minus current liabilities value, that 1 lakh 50 50 2 lakh minus 20,000, right? I think the options given here, that would be the wrong. Okay, the correct answer, that would be the 1,80,000 rupees, and the correct answer, this would be the, just you have to add 1,80,000. Just add everything like the just before every digit, just add the one here, right? So you can understand the correct answer, that would be the B, that would be the 1,80,000 rupees. That would be your correct answer for this question. Okay. So you can understand the working capital, that excess of the current asset over the current liabilities. And when we talk about the current asset, that is your cash 1 lakh, bills receivables, that is also your asset, that would be the 50,000. Inventory, that would be also 50,000, that would be equal to 2 lakh. And when we just deduct this from this, like the current liability, then would be, you will get the 1 lakh 80,000 would be your answer here. Okay, so this is how we actually solve the questions. This is something typing mistake, you can just understand here. So the correct answer, that would be the 1,80,000 rupees. That would be your answer for this question, right? Now, dividend is calculated on which capital? Dividend is calculated on which capital? Just understand very important thing. Whenever we are talking about a paid up capital, okay, so you can understand a paid up capital, it is a capital that is actually just given by the shareholders. It is a capital that is given by the shareholders, okay, against the shares that is sold by the company. So you can understand the paid up capital as the shareholder, the capital that is actually provided by the shareholders. So whenever we talk about the dividend, you can understand dividend is calculated on the paid up capital. That would be your correct answer. Okay, so this is an important question. So you can understand dividend is calculated on which capital? So the paid up capital, that would be your answer, right? Next question. A company's current ratio is 4 is to 1 after cash payment to some of its creditors. Current ratio will decrease, increase, as before, or none of these. What would be the answer of this question? Look, whenever you are, because most of most of you like confused in this question, that how to solve this kind of the question. So I am just explaining, just understand. Look, whenever we talk about the current ratio, that is given the 4 is to 1, okay. So just tell me, what is the formula for the current ratio? That is current asset divided by the current liabilities, right? And the value that is given the 4 is to 1. Let just make it to practical, okay. So if I talk about whenever we are just making the payment to some of the creditors, that you can understand actually the asset, or say actually the cash is going out from the business, like, okay, whenever you are paying the cash to your creditors, that you can understand that cash is actually your asset would decrease, as well as liability would also be decreased, okay. Just assume that, okay, we are just talking about, suppose that your current asset is a 400 and your current liabilities is a 100, okay. Now suppose that you actually paid for example, you actually paid the 50 rupees, okay. You actually paid the 50 rupees to some of your creditors. So you can understand, in the current asset value, that would be 350, and the current liabilities value, that would be the 50, okay, because current liability would also be decreased and the current asset would also be decreased here. So now if I just ask you that what would be the current ratio, like the value of the current ratio, or the ratio of the like the current ratio, so you will tell that would be the 350 divided by the 50, that would be equal to the 7 is to 1. So now just tell me that what exactly happened when we talk about the company current ratio is given, and after cash payment to some of its creditors. So you have to solve this question like in this way, okay. So what would be the answer of this question? That would be the increase, okay. That would be your answer for this question. I'm hoping that everyone is just understanding this, right? So this is how we have to solve. The correct answer, that would be increase, that current ratio will increase here, okay. Now, the another question that is given, our company's quick ratio is given, and the current liabilities are given, inventories are given, and the current ratio we have to calculate here, okay. So you just do not need to worry about whenever you are just going to solve this kind of the question. Just understand that quick ratio, like the when we talk about the quick ratio, that is your quick asset and it is divided by the current liability, that would be equal to the 1.5 divided by the 1, right? Now the current liabilities value, that is given the 2 lakh. So how to just find out that quick asset value? That would be equal to your 1.5 multiplied by the 2 lakh rupees, okay. So that would be equal to what? That would be equal to your 3 lakhs, right? That would be equal to the 3 lakhs. Now, inventory is given. When we talk about inventory, that actually the part of your current asset, right? So inventory is given the 1,80,000 rupees. Okay. So now just tell me the very important thing. If I just, the quick, we are talking about the current ratio. Okay, if we are talking about the current ratio, the formula of the current ratio, that is the current asset and it is divided by the current liabilities, right? So you can understand the very important thing whenever we are talking about the current asset and the quick asset. You have to understand that whenever we talk about the quick asset, that means every quick asset will also be the current asset, but every current asset will not also be the quick asset. So we have to understand whenever we talking about the quick asset is given, inventory is given, that you have to understand, because every quick asset is also the current asset. That means if I add here that quick asset plus inventory, that means this will be equal to the 4,80,000 rupees, the value of your current asset. Okay, and the current liabilities value, that is given the 2 lakh rupees. So if I have to just find out what would be the answer of this, so just write here, that would be equal to the 480 and divide by the 200. You can understand, like if I have to just solve here, so how you can just solve here, that would be 24 divided by the 10, or you can also just write the 2.4 is to 1. The correct answer, that would be the last part. Okay, so this is how we actually solve the questions. I'm hoping that you're just understanding day by day everything here. Okay, so just hit the like button, guys. I'm just watching here, the so many less likes I'm getting here. Just hit the like button, it actually appreciate our efforts. Okay, so I'm hoping that everyone is understanding this right now. Next question. Current ratio of a company is given, and if its working capital is given, its current liabilities will be, that is the question. Okay, so again, if I say what will be the formula of the current ratio, that would be current asset and divide by the current liabilities. Okay, and this will be the 2.5 is to 1. All right. If it's working capital, now you can understand the working capital, the formula of the working capital, that is current asset minus current liabilities. Because this is given the 60,000, you can just write in this way. And current asset, that the value here, that would be the 2.5 multiplied by the current liabilities minus current liabilities, and that would be equal to the 60,000. So that would be your value, 1.5 multiplied by the current liabilities, that would be the 60,000. And if I talk about what would be the value of the current liabilities, then it would be the 40,000. That would be your answer. And this is how we actually solve the questions. Okay, I'm hoping that now you will understand everything. Okay, right. Next question. We can see working capital figure changing. Okay, look, again, I just want to tell you one thing here, that you know what, that concept never changes, only questions changes. If you just strong with your basic concepts, then if you're just unaware of any kind of the question, you can also mark that question. Like what, you can understand when we talk about the working capital. What is the working capital? That is your current asset minus current liability. What terms you are talking about, asset and liabilities, and where you will find that? In the balance sheet, right? So the correct answer, that would be what? We can see working capital figure changing what? That would be the balance sheet configuration. That would be your answer. So the correct answer, that would be your C. Okay. So this is how we actually solved. Right. Now, next question. The data storage system which remains hidden from the users and responds to the requirement of the user to the extent the user is authorized to access is known as what? Tell me, what would be the answer of this question? The data storage system which remains hidden from the user, that that means the correct answer, that would be the backend database. That would be your correct answer. Okay, that would be your correct answer for this question. The backend database which remains hidden from the user and responds to the requirement of the user to the extent the user is authorized to access is known as a backend database. Okay, that would be your answer for this question. Okay, next question. If an organization want to develop a computerized accounting system according to its need, as a business of organization is complex, which software it should opt for? you can understand better, because if you just watch my sessions, like watch my early sessions, then you can just tell me what would be the answer of this question. Just try to understand a very simple way. I'm just explaining in a very simple way. I'm just not making the complex anything, and just do not need to read so many things for these kind of the software. The only thing that you have to understand, ready to use software, that means that would be easily available in the market. Okay, customized software that actually uses for the specific type of the business, that is a specific type of the business. Okay, and when we talk about the tailor-made software, you can understand it is just made for the single person, single business, single company. Okay, so you can understand the tailor-made software as per the company business needed, right? Now again read the question. If an organization want to develop a computerized accounting system according to its need, just understand this term, according to its need, as the business of organization is complex, so which software it should offer, the correct answer, that would be the tailor made software. That would be your correct answer. Okay, so I'm hoping that everyone just understand the all the questions here. Just tell me how many marks you all got, like out of the 10. I just want to know that, just tell me how many marks everyone got, because everyone just gave me the correct answer. Most of the questions you just provided me the correct answer here. So if you just got the 7 to 8 marks out of the 10, that means you are just going great. Okay, you are just doing great, and just keep it up. Okay, so now I'm just want to tell you that, when we talk about that, why you should just enroll in our batches, because the very important thing that, we are talking about to get the in the examination, the at least 50 marks we have to just get. Okay, and the if we talk about the banking hours, so before and after the banking hours, you can understand you just do not have a much time to read everything in the book. And just trust me one thing, that in the JAIIB examination you will get the questions from each and every topic. Okay, okay, so that means you just have to be prepared. And when we talk about the batches, you can understand the importance of the batches, that you will get the quality as well as all the content, that all based on the exam oriented. Okay, so that is the very first thing. And because you already registered for a JAIIB examination, and you can also just understand from the next year, probably the JAIIB examination, JAIIB syllabus is also going to update. So that's why you should just enroll in our batches too. Okay, so these are the batches that already available in the bilingual as well as the English medium batches. So you can enroll in our batches, and you can also just enroll like the test packs, where you just actually, when we talk about the mock test, that actually gives the final test to your preparation. Okay, so that is also important, right? So the only thing that you have to do, the because you just do not need to pay the full amount, you only have to use the code, that is Y422, and with this code you are going to get the big discount. Okay, on every batches, on every mock test, on every ebooks. So you only have to apply the code Y422. Okay, and if you are just enrolling in the mock test, and if you're just unable to just getting the discount, so in the mock test you can also just apply the code like the Y422, and just after the this code you can just write the S, and there you can just get the maximum discount for the test packs also. Okay, so this is the code you can just apply. Now I just want to show you that how you can enroll in our test, in our in our batches. Okay, so that I'm just going to show you. The very first thing, that you have to visit the adda247.com. After that you have to go to the JIB CIB section, and then JIB section. Here you will find the multiple batches is actually there is for you. Okay, like you can just see here, bilingual as well as the English medium batches are there. And if I talk about, and you can just choose the batch as you just want. Okay, because faculties are same, faculties just not change, as a concept just doesn't change. Okay, So you can understand there are multiple batches that is actually running for you, and you can enroll in any kind of the batches that actually suits you. Okay, so and you can also enroll in the individual batches of the PPB, AB, and LRAB too. So if I talk about that, like we are talking about English medium target batch, so you have to just go to in this, and then you can just see the mock test ebooks. There are so many things you are going to get. Okay, and this is also at very minimal price. Just once, just try for that, and after that you have to go to the buy now section. I repeat, you just do not need to pay the full amount. Okay, now you have to just apply the code that is Y422. Just see here, you have to apply the code that is Y422, and with this code you may get the big discount for the batches. Okay, right? So after that you should be just continue, and you can just easily purchase the our batches. Okay, so that all things that up to you. Okay, all things that up to you. The only thing that I just recommend what is important for you. Okay, so thanks for everyone for joining me this session, and if you're just finding our content is good, our efforts are good, so just hit the like button and share this video to your friends, to your colleagues, and just hit the subscribe button too. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me in this session. Now we will meet on the tomorrow at the same time at the 7 a.m. Okay.